Hello, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Max Ryan, and I'm talking today to Major Dorothy Munday. Major Munday is the Community Health and AIDS Consultant for the Social Services here at THQ. Major Munday is a nurse, and she's served for 18 years in Africa. And she also headed the committee which has prepared a manual that we want to talk about. So, Major Munday, you have on your lap there the Communicable Disease Control Manual. So, could you tell me what this manual is?
Sure. This is a project that I've really been deeply concerned about and I've really been involved in. It is a manual that is based on communicable diseases and an understanding of what they are. And if you think of communicable diseases as those diseases which are caused by another form of life, like a germ or a parasite, they have the ability then to get out of your body, to get into the body of somebody else, and to make that person sick. These diseases are different from, say, diabetes, which does not spread from person to person in that manner. So this is a manual that has been written recognizing that in today's world there are a lot of diseases out there that have the capability of spreading rapidly in a group of people. And since we are dealing with people, in all of our programs, be it core, be it social services, we are bringing groups of people together and they're at risk.
So I was going to ask you, why is a manual needed? Maybe you've partially answered that, but maybe you'd like to expand on that a bit. Why is a manual needed?
Well, this manual really comes to us when you consider what's going on out in the world. We've got, for instance, the growing HIV/AIDS epidemic. There is a new emphasis on hepatitis B, hepatitis C. There are probably diseases out there that we know nothing about. That's my own feeling anyway, that we talk about the Ebola virus and it's recently come to light. So there are a lot of diseases out there that have the capability of infecting large groups of people rapidly. And what we want to do is to try and give to people who are working in Salvation Army units an amount of information and some strategy that will help them prevent this from happening, to provide a safe environment for workers and for clientele.
Now, was there any particular group you had in mind when the manual was prepared? Like, which is the target group for this manual?
Strange enough, when we started work on this, our target group was the small institutions. But as we began to work on it, we began to realize that these were only a portion of our people who needed this information. And gradually our vision expanded and we realized that every Salvation Army unit has need for this information. Corps, camps, divisional headquarters, just wherever people meet, there is a need for this information. Okay,
now has the information been gathered simply from Army sources, or is it an amalgam of, say, Army, government, other social agencies? For instance, like, who prepared the manual? Where did the material come from?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question, because what we did with the preparation of this manual is we got as much material as we could from well-grounded sources. We used material that came to us from the Communicable Disease Control Center, Atlanta, Georgia. We used material that came to us from Health Canada. We researched books like Basic Medical Microbiology, food books, child care books, and we tried to glean the important information that came from those books and to summarize it in a usable form.
Okay, so the manual is produced. You don't really want it to sit on a shelf with other manuals, I suppose. So how do you see that it's going to be used?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I have a feeling that we are very manual conscious in the Salvation Army, and this might well appear as just another manual to sit on a bookshelf, and this is certainly not the intent. We've tried to make a manual that is user-friendly, that is useful, and that will help people even orient new staff. It could be used for new officers who perhaps come to a social institution. They have a limited background in communicable diseases, maybe just simply from being a parent. If you've been a parent, you know about communicable diseases. But their background may be limited. So with this manual, we are hoping that we can get this information into the hands of as many people as possible, all the categories of workers.
And so, in your own vision, what difference do you think the manual will make, really?
I would hope that this manual will make an institution feel that they are much more prepared to deal with a communicable disease, to prevent them from getting into the program in the first place, and if they do get them in the program, to know what to do to handle them. Another way that this manual could be helpful is through the provision of resources. We have put in the cover of the manual resources which can be accessed through local agencies and can be used to actually hand out to staff and to clients to promote the idea of communicable disease control. Unit 2 in the manual is directly applied to orientation of new staff. It can be used step by step to help new staff gain an appreciation of communicable diseases. And in the back we have a whole section of resources which people are welcome to use as samples. They can copy the guidelines and procedures and adapt them to their own institution.
Now, the Salvation Army has a mission, we know that, and we've heard the saying that cleanliness is next to godliness.
True.
So is that part of the approach, that the Army's mission to wholeness? Like, does this really fit in with the Army's mission, is what I'm asking you?
I think it does. When you consider that our mission, as we state for the territory, is to provide basic need, when you're providing basic need, you can do it in a variety of ways. You can do it a cheap, economic way, only looking at that. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to provide a safe and a healthy environment. And this manual will help to do that, we believe. Therefore, it's meeting that mission of providing compassionate care and careful care.
And I guess it was written with the Salvation Army in mind, knowing our institutions and our units and such like. That's
right. And I must say it was a very difficult manual to put together when you consider the vast number of programs we are working with. What is needed for a child care program is very different than what is needed for an addiction and rehab program. And to try and get a balance of information that is appropriate to all of these was a real challenge. I hope we've done it.
Well, I'm sure you have. So we have a manual, it's produced, you say that's a good thing. The question is, so how does anyone get a copy?
This manual, it is our aim to have in every Salvation Army unit. And we've put together a strategy in which we're working through the cabinet members and through the Secretary for Program, in which letters will go out to the divisional commanders. DSPs will obviously be involved where they are present in divisions, and they have been asked to provide a number of manuals that are needed for their division. And then these are going to be drop-shipped to the division, and they're distributed to the various units. Obviously, there are units that don't come under the divisional office, and those we're trying to reach through other means. Okay, so really you want it to be used throughout the Salvation Army in this territory. Okay, well, we've learned about the Communicable Disease Control Manual, and Major Dorothy Munday, we thank you very much. And we thank you that we believe that this manual will be a good part of the Army's arsenal of salvation warfare in the territory. Thank you very much.